You wake up, you reach for your phone, you scroll, you eat something sugary, you scroll again, you watch a video you won't remember 10 minutes from now. And by the time the sun goes down, you feel empty. You feel drained, yet you haven't actually done anything. This is the modern curse. We are drowning in pleasure, but we are starving for satisfaction. Welcome to the concept of the Stoic Dopamine Fest. This isn't just some trendy internet challenge where you stare at a wall for 2 days. This is a strategic, scientific, and philosophical reset for your brain. It is about taking the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, the practice of voluntary discomfort, and combining it with modern neuroscience to fix your broken reward system. In the next 48 hours, you can undo months of mental damage. You can go from a brain that is scattered, anxious, and numb to a brain that is sharp, focused, and actually capable of feeling joy again. But first, we have to understand why you feel this way. The science of the numb brain. Imagine your brain's reward system is like a scale. On one side, you have pleasure. On the other side, you have pain. Nature designed this scale to hover in the middle, at a level balance. When you do something good for your survival, like eating a berry or bonding with a tribe member, your brain releases a little bit of dopamine. The scale tips slightly toward pleasure. You feel good, and then it goes back to level. But your life today is not natural. When you scroll through TikTok, binge watch Netflix, or eat hyper-processed sugar, you aren't just tipping the scale. You are slamming a sledgehammer on the pleasure side. You might think, that sounds great, I want pleasure. But here is the catch. The brain demands balance. It demands what scientists call homeostasis. If you press too hard on the pleasure side, the brain will fight back by pressing hard on the pain side to level you out. This is why, right after a binge of video games or social media, you don't feel happy. You feel irritable. You feel anxious. You feel a lack of motivation. That is your brain physically downregulating your dopamine receptors. It is turning down the volume because the music was too loud. Eventually, you reach a state where the simple things, a sunset, a conversation, a good book, feel like nothing. You are numb. You have burned out your receptors. The Stoic solution: voluntary discomfort. 2,000 years ago, long before neuroscience, the Stoic philosopher Seneca understood this problem perfectly. He didn't know what dopamine was, but he understood the human soul. He wrote about the dangers of luxury and how easy it is to become a slave to our own comforts. Seneca advised a practice called voluntary discomfort. He told his friend Lucilius to set aside a certain number of days to be content with the scantiest and cheapest food, with coarse and rough dress, and to say to himself, "Is this the condition that I feared?" The Stoics knew that if you never say no to your impulses, you lose your freedom. You become a slave to your belly and your whims. So, for the next 48 hours, we are going to practice this Stoic discipline. We are going to enter the inner citadel, as Marcus Aurelius might call it. We are going to starve the distractions so we can feed the focus. The 48-hour protocol. This is not going to be easy. In fact, if you are doing it right, it should be difficult. That is the point. Here are the rules for the next 2 days. Rule number 1. No cheap dopamine. This means no social media, no video games, no Netflix or streaming services, no pornography, no junk food or sugary drinks, and no music with lyrics that hype you up. Rule number 2. Boredom is the goal. You are allowed to walk. You are allowed to drink water, black coffee, or tea. You are allowed to eat simple, single-ingredient foods. Think eggs, rice, vegetables, oatmeal. You are allowed to write in a physical journal with a real pen. And you are allowed to read, but only physical books. No Kindles, no tablets. Phase 1. The resistance. Hours 0 to 24. The first day is where the battle happens. When you wake up on day 1, your first instinct will be to grab your phone. When you realize you can't, you will feel a pang of anxiety. This is the pain side of the balance, screaming at you. Your brain is saying, "Where is my hit? Where is my stimulation?" By the afternoon, you will likely feel bored, aggressively bored. You might even feel a phantom vibration in your pocket, thinking your phone is buzzing when it isn't. This is where you must apply the Stoic principle of endurance. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Your boredom is not the enemy. Your boredom is the medicine. When you are bored, your brain is forced to look inward. It is forced to clean house. During this phase, take a long walk without headphones. Listen to the sounds of the world. At first, it will be annoying. You will want a podcast or music to distract you, but keep walking. Eventually, your thoughts will settle. You will start to process things you have been ignoring for months. When you eat your simple dinner, maybe just some chicken and broccoli, taste it. Really taste it. Without a screen in front of your face, you will realize how often you eat without even chewing properly. Phase 2. The clarity. Hours 24 to 48. If you survive the first day, something magical happens on day 2. You will wake up, and the fog will have lifted slightly. The urge to check your phone will still be there, but it won't be screaming anymore. It will be a whisper. This is your dopamine receptors starting to upregulate. Because you haven't bombarded them with super stimuli for 24 hours, they are becoming sensitive again. You might find that looking out the window at a tree looks different. The green is greener, the light is sharper. This isn't a hallucination. This is your brain actually processing the visual data without a filter of numbness. Use this day to do the deep work or deep thinking the Stoics were famous for. Sit with a journal. Write down your problems. You will be shocked at how easily you can solve them when your brain isn't jumping every 5 seconds to a new notification. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." On day 2, you stop suffering in imagination because you are finally living in reality. You aren't escaping anymore. The re-entry, the guardian at the gate. Now, the most dangerous part of this experiment is when the 48 hours are over. Most people make a huge mistake. The clock hits the 48-hour mark, and they immediately dive back into TikTok, order a pizza, and binge watch a show. If you do this, you have wasted your time. You just reset the scale only to smash it again. You need to treat your brain like a recovering patient. You don't give a patient a marathon to run right after surgery. When you turn your phone back on, be the guardian at the gate. This is a Stoic concept where you strictly monitor what you allow into your mind. Turn off your notifications, all of them. Keep your screen in grayscale mode if you can. Do not reinstall the apps that were stealing your life. Ask yourself, who is in charge? Me or the device? Why this matters? This 48-hour reset isn't just about productivity. It is about reclaiming your humanity. The Stoics believe that a human being is meant to be rational, focused, and free. When you are addicted to cheap dopamine, you are none of those things. You are an animal chasing a carrot. By stepping back, by embracing the voluntary discomfort of silence and boredom, you remind yourself that you are the master of your own mind. You prove to yourself that you can survive and thrive without the constant noise. You will realize that happiness doesn't come from the next swipe, the next like, or the next sugar rush. It comes from within. It comes from being present. So, I have a question for you. Are you brave enough to be bored? Are you strong enough to sit with your own thoughts for 2 days? Most people aren't. They will click off this video and go find something shiny to look at. But if you are still listening, maybe you are different. Maybe you are ready to reset. If you are going to try this 48-hour Stoic Dopamine Fast, I want to know. Drop a comment below simply saying, "I accept the challenge." Let's see how many of us can reclaim our minds this weekend. And if you found value in this breakdown, please subscribe and share this with a friend who looks a little too addicted to their screen. Help them wake up. Until next time, stay strong.